Morning, guys. Happy Easter. All right, so I recently just asked a question, and I want to make sure first the question is understood, and second I will answer. So the question I asked is, when you're working with affirmations, okay, when you're working with affirmations, there are two sets of experiences that one can have. The first experience that you can have is your affirmation took, you entered it instantly, and it worked immediately, all right? The second experience you can have, and a lot of people have it, okay, is the exact opposite of what you are affirming for. How do you know which one you'll experience first? Okay? In other words, why do some people get their affirmations immediately and why do some people do not? Okay? And how do you know when the opposite's going to manifest beforehand? Okay? It's very simple. Very, very simple answer. Okay? Your body is actually designed to tell you these things. And so if you get attuned to your spirit, you have a really good relationship with your spirit, you'll actually see how this works. But essentially, the only difference between the person who gets what they want immediately based on affirmation alone and the one that doesn't is resistance. See, if you truly believe what you're saying, you say it once, you expect it, you drop it, it happens immediately. There's no resistance at all. You expect it to work. So yes, it boils down to belief, because you must believe what you are saying, okay? So the one way that is guaranteed that it is not going to work and that the opposite, initially, and that the opposite is going to appear first is your lack of belief. If you do not believe what you are saying, okay, your least resistant thoughts manifest first. And so it doesn't matter what you say, the least resistant thoughts manifest first. So if you do not believe what you are saying, if you don't have that strong conviction, then affirmations work against you initially, because you must face your negative beliefs and go through them first in order to get to the other side. This is why it's the shortcut. So I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying the difference between instant and opposite is like a hair. It's a hair based on the fact that your internal resistance is what makes it. Okay? And so essentially the way that you know that that opposite is going to manifest is because your lack of belief. It's plain and simple. Guaranteed you're going to have the opposite result no matter what. It's going to absolutely happen this way. Things will be worse before they get better. Does that mean it didn't work? No. It just means you took the long way around because your lack of belief in what you have manifests first, and that is the veil you must transcend to get to the other side. So most people say, persist, 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 persist. Yes, but they're struggling against themselves, okay? When they do this, initially, it's the long way around. So it's not that I don't believe in affirmations. Affirmations work great. If you believe what you're saying and you have no resistance to them, they're instant. You know, what you say declares happens immediately. If you don't have that, that resistance is surefire guaranteed. Okay? And when you feel it in your gut and you know that you don't actually believe what you're saying, you actually feel like you're lying to yourself, this is the moment I'm asking you to pay attention to. This is the moment that's going to make the difference between whether you have an easy manifestation or a hard one. It is completely up to you because you are that mirror, you are that source, so you are what's on display. And like I said, your least resistant thoughts appear first, okay? Neville Goddard proves this in the ladder experiment. Okay? He says, program your mind at night that you're climbing the ladder, 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 right? That's what you do at night. Then in the morning, okay, you swear up and down you will not climb that ladder. When you do climb that ladder, okay, now you have proven that your least resistant thought manifests first. You see that? And so the way that you can predict the future on whether or not your manifestation is going to work through affirmation is, do you believe what you're saying? Do you believe what you're saying? In other words, because it's Easter, might as well talk about the Bible, right? In other words, if you do not believe that I am He, then you will die in your sins. Now, as harsh as that sounds, it is the absolute truth. If you don't believe that my consciousness makes my reality and alters it, I will live as I believe. I will die in my sins. I will live in the missing of the mark until I believe my consciousness is capable of changing my reality. Okay? So that's the difference. It's a really easy difference. So it's not about affirmations not working, sure, but if you're wondering, why does it work for some and not for others? It really boils down to your level of resistance and belief in what you have. When you feel like you are lying to yourself, this is the moment that guarantees you're going to get the opposite first. Doesn't mean you won't get there. You just took the long way around because your non-resistant thoughts, the ones that don't believe more than the ones that do believe, those manifest first, okay? If life is a Libra scale and it's a 49 to 51% differential, you don't have to, what do I want to say? You don't have to be perfect in your thoughts all the time. You're going to have the stray, errant, doubtful moment for a second, and that is okay because it's a 49 to 51% differential, right? That tips the scale and then causes you to have either or, lack or what you want, okay? So it's very slight. So you don't have to be perfect in your thoughts, but when you truly believe, you catch yourself when you're in a negative thought and you detach from it completely and you say, stop being silly or whatever, but you talk yourself out of it easier because your dominant way of belief is what will manifest first. And so the unconscious is always made visible. This works on autopilot. It works on autopilot. I swear on my life, it works on autopilot. This way, it's always designed according to where you're at so that you can create your experience and learn from it. That's how it works, legitimately. All right? So this is how you can predict the future. If you believe what you were saying, you already know it's instant. If you don't believe what you were saying, then promise you just went the long way around. You're going to get the opposite result first, or a degree of that. You're going to face the negative construct. This is the part where people say, it's the old story playing out, just wait it out, just wait it out. Yes, that's correct. Because, and I say this all the time, what you don't want and what you do want exist side by side. So the shortcut is sometimes to go through that, and your soul knows that. And your sense of accomplishment comes from turning that situation that you didn't want completely around. And so now the evidence of your consciousness is made visible through physical experience, which is the whole point. And then you can develop that faith in that muscle. You can see how that works, okay? So it's not about affirmations not working, but if you don't believe what you're saying, you just made more work for yourself initially. If you can persist, you'll eventually get there. Is it going to take you longer than most? Yes, because your lack of belief or your more dominant thought is that what you don't believe is possible. you're working on fixing that belief. It is not done through vain repetition, because that will always make the lack prevalent first, right? It's always, if you can always remember to use time and space like a mirror, you'll always understand where your consciousness is at. So if you understand how that works, you're not like, why did the opposite manifest, right? You'll actually understand why the opposite manifests. Does that mean you can't get out of it? Absolutely not. That's why people say, when you resist it, if you don't resist, just persist, you'll get there. That's why. They're just going the long way around to something that you already have. See, once from source perspective, and this is something that's going to take time, but that you'll get, from source perspective, there is never a moment that you don't have what you have. What your vessel does is let you know what's in the field of potential. And so your desire is God's means of communication so that you can have your experience. So when your vessel is able to translate what is possible and accepts that is real, you enter new states at will like this. You see? Because you speak soul, you speak desire, you understand, oh, this is what God wants me to have. I totally accept this. Okay? Because God, being your own soul, wants you to have the best experiences. Don't you want the best experiences? So, right? So this is the core means of communication that will always be available to you. What you're learning to do is to use your vessel to translate what is available in the spiritual realm into what is available in the physical world. You're always grabbing something out of your head, observing it, considering it real, and you enter the state. It's that simple. We are in that world now. We are in 5D. If you're not living like this, it's because you're not applying it. You must live from the state. That's it. You must live from the state. You must live from the state. They must be living memories. In fact, someone asked that question. They said, when scripting, is it faster to write it as past tense, future tense, or present tense? And the answer is past tense. Because 3D is the past, regurgitated, made into different patterns. So when you treat a memory as if it has already occurred and you love it with appreciation, it then immediately gets recycled into your group of experiences, and that is what is outpictured. So if you want to work fast with 3D, you want to work in the past. It's already happened. It is already your memory. And so as soon as you've detached from that idea, from that acceptance, that's what appears first. Because the answer is simple. The only thing the universe is your subconscious on display. Once you've placed something in your subconscious and consider it real, it's fair game to be made everywhere. And when you understand, it's my mind, it's my mind, it's my mind, it's my mind on display. It's the only thing that's true. It's my mind on display. Let me be really cognizant of how I think, because this is determining my experience. The more you get attuned to that, what will happen is realization turns into manifestation. It's always been that way. That's what be still and know means. But when you get that, you enjoy that experience. Okay? So I hope this helps. I hope that answers that question. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. Okay? I really hope what I'm saying makes sense, because literally what I just said determines the difference of whether or not your affirmation is going to work with ease or whether your affirmation is going to give you trouble first. And then you have to decide whether you have the cojones to go through what you don't want first. Okay? Because a lot of times, if you can do that and treat it as the shortcut, you'll get there. Because they're existing side by side. All right? All right, you guys. I'm going to get back to enjoying my lazy Sunday. Love you.